Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be going through my team review for round 4, going through how I went, what my ranking is if you haven't been coming along on the Twitter run that I've been sort of posting week by week so that you get it sort of a day in advance. I usually post it Sunday night or so, sort of a summarized view of what this video is. So then you can get it early there, I guess. And sort of how I'm going, how I'm tracking, and what are my sort of thoughts as I sort of give away sort of this video, and also a little bit on my preview, which comes out on Thursday. So before we get into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and especially just try and hit that goal of, we're trying to hit that goal of 500 subscribers by the buy. It's tracking all right. Let's try and get a more, now that we get into the popular videos of the week, let's try and hit that, hit up towards that 500 by the buys. So let's get into the video now. 22.44 for the overall score, a team value at the start of the round of 18.049, and then if I quickly do this, and hopefully it doesn't do it, you can see now that with the trades set in place, it is now 18.96, which is a little bit behind the rest, but part of that is the 200k or so from Bont, and others had some other guys, so I'm not too far behind, I don't actually think, when you think about it, and I have pretty clear-cut trades for the next couple of weeks, which I think are pretty good, and it makes it a lot easier. And I think just making smart moves now and not leaving dead rookies on the bench is probably the way to go. It looks like, at least this week, that we may get Mana playing and not Clark. I'm hoping we get both, which would be a good thing, but I don't think we will, as getting both would be a good thing. It may be time to move off Clark as he's a little bit slow, but that's probably not this week, as he hasn't really generated enough cash just yet to make a major move. But then again, we'll wait and see on that one. And I kind of need to get rid of House, as we'll go through in this video. But as you can see, the round rank of 489, a huge round. And that propelled me up from 6,282 to 1,551. So I am well in the hunt. If you saw the tweet, I believe I'm roughly 190. Let me just bring up the tweet now because I'll forget what the actual numbers are, but I believe I'm roughly 260 points off. Here we go. Points off first, 289 points. So that person in first is roughly, let's actually just give you a rough indicator of it. They are at 83.52 and I'm at 8,063. And then if we also just click that back over there, then they're also 140 points off the hat, which is, I think, a really good point. And if we can stay roughly 100 points off the hat in terms of being, I guess, in terms of that after the buys, after these two buys coming up, then I think I'm in a really good position. So yeah, I think a couple of things are the reason why I'm in, I think, a poor team value position. I think the firing of, let's actually go here and just do, does it have price per point? This may give it away a little bit to the reasoning why. Don't think it will. Do we have if I go to Stat Center about this and I go season change, you'll see I have a lot of these guys. Blake Howe's obviously it's probably obvious that it's going to be a trade out. Gallagher I missed, which was a huge cash generator. Sherry I missed, huge cash generator. And Ollie Dempsey I jumped on a little bit later. Cabman I never had. Jimmy McGovern is huge cash generator as well for those people that grabbed him. Mackay, Aish, Windsor. Dersmer as well has done his sort of job, gotten up to 406, but I don't think he'll generate too much more cash now. Nick Martin I've had James Jordan as well, made a little bit of cash. Matt Crouch, one that I missed as well. He's been huge. And Hardy Reid as well, making some cash, but I jumped off there. And anyone else that I've really missed that has been a game changer. Jordan Clark as well has been decent, but not gained as much cash as Jeremy McGovern. Anyone else here? Not really, to be honest with you. So yeah, just a couple of misses, I'll be honest with you, and then having a couple of dead rookies already didn't help. But anyway, I don't think I'm in too bad of a position, to be honest with you. And so yeah, that's that. So if we go to that, then we have, and just thinking about it, can I do that? No, I don't think I can. So 121, 106, 108, 108, 55, 69. So Sheasel, 121, he has been so ultra consistent, the second best for the season now that we've had the sort of bad games out of Tom Green and Sarong and stuff. They brought them down to earth, and if we go by average, you'll still see Merritt is top and Sarong, so these guys are missed. So yeah, I think Merritt over Bontempelli would have been huge because Merritt's gained 26k and Bont has lost around 100k. So that's sort of the gap there, as well as Sarong. I could have honestly started the season, and I know this will sound dumb, but I honestly could have started the season with a Merritt and Rosie over a Butters and Bontempelli. And that would have put me 111, and Merritt's been a 123. So that's about what's that, 46 points, whatever. Let's actually just check. 446, and Merritt is at 492, so 46 points. And then Butters is averaging 102 on 409 points, and Rosie is at 459 points. So I would have been 96 points better, and 96 points better is roughly around that top 300, I want to say, 400 or so. I think it's right around that area. At just another 100 points. So, as we said, Sheasel second best. I think he is going to be up there. I don't know now if Dacos will have enough time to catch up, because he's now at, I believe, around that 99, 98. So I honestly thought that Dacos would be the number one defender, and I thought it would be a gap of like 10 or so points. I didn't think Sheasel would get such a lucrative role, but I'm so glad that I started Sheasel. I was so off him in the preseason because we had this potential move into the midfield, but it looks like they've discovered Tom Powell, and there's no need to move him ever into the midfield. Sheasel never needs to go into the midfield because they got LDU, Wardlaw, Powell and Simpkin as the fourth guy, and Colby McKercher should, in the next couple years, potentially move into the midfield. So Sheasel doesn't need to move into the midfield, and it's as simple as that. Whitfield, 106, he's been actually pretty good. A season rank of 12th, and we've had him for an average of 100, 102, 106. That's 308 points, and 308 is around 103. And we got him at 855k. So 855k was roughly around an average of, 855 divided by 9. We got him for roughly an average of 94. So he's done 9 better than his average. And when we loopholed him in, when was it? Was it round 3? When he wasn't playing, we got a 60 score covering him. So that meant that his average currently with us overall is through 4 games, and this will get better progressively over the course of the season. Times that by 4. Divide that by 4. Times it by 3. And we had him for what is it now? So it was a 308 plus 60 divided by 4. So currently he's priced at 92. Currently, we've got him for a 92, which doesn't seem like value. But once the buys have reset, and now that he's on, after his buy, that should actually reset. And now that you have to pay roughly around 104 to get him, it should be fine. It should be absolutely fine. He's got a 110 break even, because that 137 is starting to get out of his system. But if he goes another 110 against St Kilda, who have been pretty good to defenders, I'm pretty sure. I need to check the matrix for that. But yeah, he's been, the stats for that, but I'm pretty sure he should do well. He had 15 minutes off as well, which could, honestly, if he didn't have that 15 minutes off, he could have looked at a 120 was honestly on if he didn't have that concussion test. But I was texting Abs at the, I was tweeting Abs at the same time. We were both watching that, the game, obviously, and the 15 minutes off that he had felt like about 40. It felt that long. that, yeah. So, and obviously happy that he butchered the ball because I don't have him in Supercoach. Hayden Young, 108. He did amazing, and he's been one of the misses, I think, from trading him out in Supercoach. And that's one of the things that I think I need to get better at in Supercoach is, I mean, yeah, you can say that in trading out the break evens for the guys like Hayden Young and Nick Martin and missing them. But then again, some people would say why you don't hold when looking at pointing at examples of Dawson and LDU because they just keep on dropping. So yes, Hayden Young probably should have held in the long run, but I'm sort of not too disappointed in that. But obviously, fantasy wise, I obviously held because you don't get rid of primos like him just yet off of two. Well, it was basically one poor game, which was a 75. And then he's come back and gone bang bang, and now he's effectively a top 6 defender. Elliot Yeo has been really, really good. For those that didn't grab him initially, or those who even traded him out after a 70, there was reasonings behind the 70 against Port, and that's why I honestly held. We saw this as well with with I think Harley as well, why he didn't score so well against Port, but he continued it up until the Sydney game, whereas Elliot Yeo's now gone 108, and it's been absolutely huge, and now has a 51 break even, and this is where he can make some real good cash, or he could just be a keeper, which is a good thing. So we'll see how he goes, but he is doing the job that we need, and is almost, honestly, if you look at his last 3, he's averaging in his last 3 104.7, which is almost which is top 6. Massimo 55. This sucks, but there's reasonings behind this, and that's why I'm not too worried to hold ship. A lot of people would have traded out Hayden Young, but when you looked at the reasonings behind Hayden Young and why it's turned around, that's why I'm not too worried about holding Massimo for one more week. And I have a get out of jail plan anyway for Massimo, that him and Seth Campbell don't need to gain anything with break evens or anything to get to my plan, basically. So it would be nice for him to turn it around, but I don't necessarily need it for the plan that I have in place. So I'm not too worried about Massimo this week. Yes, a 55 does suck, but he had as we went with the doing a scaling of his TOG up to his usual level, it gets him up to a 70, and that 70 doesn't even look too bad. I think he's one that you take the risk on this week of him just absolutely firing and providing that big score on for this weekend. Zach Williams, 69. There was a little bit of a complaint late in the game with, I think, his calf or hamstring. But Voss said he was fine, so that's good. 69 for him. Did start off really quickly and faded, but a 69 is really good. Howes didn't even hit his break even. He just looks like he's being a lockdown player at the moment, and lockdown players, he may score well this week, which will suck, but he's got a 55 break even, so I think the logical play is just to get rid of him and to hold the likes of Massimo, because Massimo has shown that he can score well, whereas Howes has really gone 2 bummer games, and if he goes another bummer game, that break even is going to start to go up to like 80 or so, and then 80 break even for Howes. He's going to start plummeting in price, and we cannot have that. So that's why I'm trading him out. Zach Reed, I believe, is about 2 weeks away, so he's going to be, he may start slow and may get down in price, but I project over time that he's going to be a guy that I look at in around probably 12 or so and go, oh, there's some cash on his head. He's about 350k. And then I'm just going to randomly be able to trade him out. And that's sort of the reasoning why I've held Reed over time, is because there's been so many other spot fires, and he wasn't a season-ending injury. So there was almost no need to trade him out, especially with the lack of, like, we were considering going Reed to a Draper or to a Pink or to someone else. There's no need to do any of that. And right now we're almost on the verge of upgrade season, and so I could technically go Reed to like a Closey or something like that. But the problem is I have other rookies that are probably hitting the rookie wall at the moment and are not going to be gaining any cash, that I need to get maximum value out of that, and that is Blake Howes, as his break even is 55. If he goes 70, he gets another 10, 15k. But the odds of him going 70, like he is on his average, below his average, his break even is higher than his average. That's just time to cash out. Pod 149 finally repaying us. Would like to see another big game against Essendon if he can do that. Especially, we'll have the captaincy on him. I've already thought about that. So yeah, Bont is going to be my captain this week, and I'm absolutely stoked to have him. 111.5. It's a little bit annoying that he's unders at the moment, but let's just think about this logically, right? If he goes a 150 here, say he goes a 150, so he's at 446 plus a 150. Divide that by 5, he's back at 119.2. Perfect. He's done his job. Exactly what we wanted. And he'll have fired. Obviously, in the best 18, it sort of sucks that he didn't get those big scores. But overall, a 119.2 from a Bont would be huge. And he'd be back on that... he'd be well back on the trend to get back to his original price. Whereas you've got guys like Sarong and stuff like that, 146... Tom Green, 137. Brayshaw, that's fine for his pricing. Jordan Dawson as well, 121. So you've got all these guys down here that are starting to lower in price. I wouldn't be surprised if Sarong goes 100, he drops another 20, 30k, and you start to see that break even because that 160 drops out of his system effectively, and then you get his two lowest scores as his top two scores. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Sarong drop under 1 million right away, and then he starts to become accessible. Like we were saying with Tom Green, he starts becoming accessible because that 88, say he goes 100 again here, that means that he's probably going to drop down close to around about that 1.01 million, and he'll have a 140 break even again. So it means that, especially because this 145 and this 120 are very, very weighted in his system at the moment. Obviously, the 88 is weighted as well, highly. But you see these guys are going to start to drop in price, and you can start to consider them. So then we move on. Butters, he's been good, but he hasn't been game-breaking, which sort of sucks, and I'm pretty sure someone called this in the preseason. And it's basically just been the fact that this Melbourne game, if this Melbourne game he actually scored really well in, if he'd scored even another 20 points in, we'd be looking at a guy averaging 108 from a 99 or whatever. And a 108 from a 99 is pretty good. So I think it's not that end of the world with Butters. I would just like to see him, and I think the save that he had to be on, I think it was something like 40 points at halftime or something, to get to a 106 is pretty good. So against Freo, let's see if he can run the midfield and get that sort of 110, 115 type of score to really help. Still absolutely huge. Put the C on him after Heaney's fail, and a 131 averaging 120.8 has been absolutely huge. A lot will say his fixtures are pretty soft, but I think he's going to turn up no matter the fixture, to be honest with you. He's gone 108, 120, 124, 131. And the big change this year has been his marking. He's averaging, 25 marks across 4 games. So that is an average of 6 marks a game and change. So that's been absolutely huge from him. And that's where the points generation is coming from. Because out of those 6 marks a game, he's probably generating somewhere around 26 points. So that is the big thing. Whereas if you look at his marking last year, and I know it's probably going to prove me wrong, honestly, 97 average last year, he took 80 marks across 20 games, averaging 4 a game. So he's getting probably, if we say that each mark is roughly about 5.5, because he does like a handball, he is gaining somewhere around that 11 points a game, which is about half the damage that's needed. And he's still averaging 7.4 tackles a game. If we look back at him across the first 4 games, he's averaging, 17, 24, 34 tackles. He's averaging another, 8.5. So he's averaging roughly another tackle a game as well. So that gives you 4 points. And then he's getting a little bit more disposal. So he's just doing an all-round better job. And that's the reason why he's averaging so good. Nick Martin, 114, he's done his job, simply as that. And he will probably slide back into defence. I would be surprised if he doesn't come some point in the year. I just need to, he may just stick here just because it may be good to also have some flexibility across the board. And you'll see that. But yeah, he's been really good. Happy about sticking by him. And yeah, so he will most likely slide back eventually, but I just need to get getting day costs, etc. Next week could mean that I don't grab him just yet, but we'll wait and see. Don't put him back there just yet, but we'll wait and see on that one, as basically him or Martin being in, him or Elliot Yeo being defender or midfield doesn't really make too much of a difference. Bonner, 94, he was great, did fade out late, obviously with a 30-point second half, but an average of 96 for him. We bought him at 5.12, did we buy him at? Something like that. And yeah, he's been great, and he's just continuing to rise. Has a 33 break even, so hopefully he scores another big one, because if he scores another big one, goes up another 40, 50k, we've effectively turned a mid-price almost into a just straight up upgrade from, like, you can use a Clark or something like that to almost get him up if he gets to around that 750k range. Matty Roberts, 69, didn't score the best, obviously has the bye this week, but I'm planning on holding him just because he's averaging 81, and that's even with a 69 and a 68 in his system. So he didn't score the best, didn't use the ball necessarily the greatest, I don't believe. Or was it Blakey that was butchering the ball? But yeah, he's fine. Kicked his first goal, and yeah, he should be fine back in defence against the Suns and the Hawks after the bye. We'll probably just stick in the midfield or potentially slide back into defence, but my defence might even honestly be filled by the time that the DPPs roll around, as I get the likes of a Dacos in there, but we'll wait and see on that one. Martin, Bonner, Roberts, McKercher, 50. I am slightly worried about him. If he does have another bad week and is selected to go into the midfield, I'm probably going to jump off of him and move him on, as I don't really like the role necessarily. But we'll wait and see on that one, and it could easily be the fact that he may even, if he does have that role next week, that is not good. I may move him and Massimo on and get actually up to Rowan Marshall, which sounds like a big sort of weird one to do. But then I would just have to play Closey as a D6 in a bye round, in the best 18 bye round, and then just have another defender here, which could be a Graham or someone else as defenders. Surely, hopefully we get another one. So there's that. And then I would get the likes of a Rowan Marshall, and Luke Jackson would slide back into the forward line. As you would know, I'm getting out of Grundy, and you'll see who I'm getting him out of in the preview on Thursday. Then we go here, and you have Jeremy Sharp here, 106. He was really good, and I was happy I could loophole him because I had Riley Sanders to play in the final game, was it? Or something like that. And he only made 84. He looked really good for an 84, so I would have liked to have loopholed McKercher. Now, thinking about it, that would have been 34 points as well, so that kind of sucks. But you live and you learn, and I didn't really actually almost consider McKercher just because of his scoring initially, and so I wasn't too worried about that, to be honest with you. So then we have the other rookie in Jai Clark, 35. I think he's looking at a rest, and it is possible that Mana comes in. Hopefully they do sort of do that swap, because I don't want a massive amount of dead rookies on my sort of bench. That would suck. But hopefully they also give both of these to a game and just drop someone else, as that would be the best option. But then again, hopefully we'll see what they do. Then we have Harry Barnett didn't play. Brodie Grundy, 93 against West Coast, sort of didn't work out. That play in the Sherry play definitely worked over others, as I think in the last 2 weeks when I could have potentially done the Sherry trade, I would have netted around about 30 or 40k more going that way than the Grundy way, and netted minus 10 points, something like that. It wasn't, I think that Grundy's outscored him, but I don't think Sherry did too badly, obviously. So yeah, that trade sort of haunts me, but I guess in the long run, when you think about it, was I ever going to do that, logically speaking? I don't think I would have ever. Now in hindsight, obviously it is to say that could have been a play, that would have been the play, but to think about it like that, I would have, no one was ever going to go with Grundy scoring a 118, no one was ever going to go Tristan Sherry, who had no real back out option to him, as he was the lower price guy. So there was no real option, and it is talking about natural improvement there that Cherry had. as a number 1 ruck last year or whatever, he only went like 80 or 70, and he's gone huge this year in comparison. So you could say, oh, you should have known that. But you can also look at guys like Newcomb and LDU and stuff like that, and you can say, well, here is the opposite effect of when it goes wrong. So, yeah, missing out on one guy in Cherry isn't necessarily end, but he definitely was was almost the pick of the year. So that sort of sucks. Luke Jackson, 94, he did really all right and is doing what I need him to. Yes, Sean Darcy's coming back, so in the next 2 weeks, I'll probably have to move him on, but I don't really see a forward necessarily popping their head up that I can necessarily pick. Combin will wait and see. Zorko has hamstrings made of like 1 strain. Harry Mackay is slowly decreasing. Myers, I don't really rate, to be honest, as an option. He's gone 17, 108, 84, and 96. Hogan's a key forward. Danaher's a key forward. Baker is on his... Baker could potentially be an option. He's got the Eagles this week. We'll see how he goes. And then I don't know what he's got after that. Has the bye, after that. And then we'll potentially move him on. But also that could just mean that I move... but look at how weak this forward line is. Because I know that people will be just saying Flanders. Flanders is coming in this week, by the way. So Flanders, Isaac Heaney, Tom Powell, Zach Fisher, and Ollie Dempsey. And then I sort of have this last spot that I need to get a player on, and there is literally no player that I really see being an option at the moment, to be honest with you. They're all sort of averaging 70 to 80, so that'll be one that I sort of maybe even take a punt on Zorko from a Jackson, etc. after in round 6. So yeah, that is Luke Jackson. Talked about Isaac Heaney doing his thing. He's going to be there. Tom Powell as well, 89. I think he's almost on the level of just being a keeper just because of his he's getting 80s, and yeah, he could easily pop for a 120 again. Zach Fisher, 83. He's getting up there eventually. He's slowly improving, and hopefully he gets some more score in him, as hopefully he gets some more marks. Honestly, he's not getting too many marks, which is annoying, but it's Aiden Core taking the kickouts, which is annoying. Shouldn't be Aiden Core taking the kickouts, as he's just turning it over a lot. So give it to Zach Fisher and Harry Sheasel, as they're probably a better kick, to be honest. Ollie Dempsey is again a 72. That could have easily been an 80 or 90. Not too worried about him, to be honest, either. And hopefully he gets the kick on that he needs. And then Darcy Wilson pulled out a 79 to cover off the Harley Reid owners. And Seth Campbell also pulled out a 64 to keep his cash and going. Charlie Lazaro got dropped for Hugh Greenwood and also someone else. And he looked, was it Shields or whatever? And yeah, they didn't look the greatest. So hopefully they come back. Charlie Lazaro comes back in, as he hasn't been performing the worst. And I don't really want a dead rookie, to be honest. And then you've got Riley Sanders here, 495k, and is going really well, has a break even of 9 and is averaging 78.8, which is sort of what we expected. So that pretty much is the review of the AFL Fantasy side for round 4. I'm in a pretty good position. Yes, my value isn't as strong as some other teams would, but I sort of know the underlying reasons why that is the case. One of them is the difference between Bontempelli, etc., and others having the likes of a Sarong, which should flip in my favour another sort of 60, 70 grand this week, which will bring my team value back upwards to the pack. And hopefully that also others have Tom Green as well, which should flip it back as well, because some went Tom Green and Caleb Sarong. And then also just I have not as many dead rookies. I do have a lot of dead rookies actually in Manor, Reid, Lazaro at the moment. So I do have 3. But hopefully they get back on the track soon and get back playing, as that'll be really, really helpful for I guess getting cash gen going. And yeah, so I'm not in a bad position. I'm obviously, my rank's pretty good at the moment, and I'm just covering off those guys that a lot of people had through the early part of the season, like Flanders, trying to get onto Marshall as quickly as possible, as he looks really good. And then also getting onto Dacos, who a lot of the people had, who's been disappointing, and one of the and the fading him was the better option. But that pretty much is the video there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the cash cows and the trade targets. And then you will see me on Thursday as well for all 3 videos of my tips and my team previews across Fantasy and Supercoach. So I'll see you guys then. Bye, guys.